You see, my old man never believed in luck or anything. He just believed in pull. He says, if you got pull, you'll make it. He never believed, that's one of the great folk beliefs. One of the great folk beliefs that's never, actually categorized as a folk belief is in fact, it is a mystical, religious belief in it ain't what you know, it's who you know. Every guy believes that if he gets to know an important man, he will automatically become important himself somehow. And nevertheless, this is, my old man used to say that. He said, come on. His explanation on why guys were always getting promoted at the office was the following explanation. He'd be sitting down at the table, it's supper time, and he's in front of this white porcelain table we had, with the nicks on it, and he's sitting there with a can of Ballantine's beer or something in his mitt, and he's wearing his BVDs with about 5 strategic buttons off, and he's just sitting there, he's looking bugged, and finally, have you ever been bugged all the time, waiting for somebody to ask you what you're bugged about? All right, see, so he's sitting there, and it just oozes out of him. My old lady would know when she'd have her cue. You see, she knows that she's supposed to finally say this, and so she's over hanging over the sink, with a Brillo pad, and finally she says, "All right, what's the trouble?" "Nothing." Dead silence. Say, well, obviously, I say she's sitting there and her face is purple, and he's got this can of beer. He's sucking it. Boy, he's drinking his beer like he's mad at it. Finally, she says, "Well, now, something seems to be troubling you." This is the understatement of the century. And he's sitting there like a human boil. She says, "Something seems to be troubling you. What happened at the office?" "Nothing!" Dead silence. And, of course, the kids know this is shut-up time. Don't say nothing. Keep your trap shut or you're liable to get a mouthful of fist, The old man's liable to dump his mashed potatoes right on your head. Finally, she comes over and says, I thought we'd go visit this is her way of getting at it finally. She says, "I thought we'd go visit Ernie and Bernice tonight." "I don't want to talk to that stoop tonight." All right, what is it now? Tell her, what's the trouble now? I'm going to quit that job. I've got to get out of that office. I said, "Well, what happened today?" You wouldn't believe it. Who do you think got the assistant chief clerk's job today? Well, this is a rhetorical question. She's not supposed to answer, So she's ladling out the gravy. Who do you think? I mean, who's the most stupid guy in the office, right? Who? That's the one, right? That's the one that gets it, right? Well, who was it? Guess who? Zudak. Zudak! The old lady, she doesn't know who Zudak is. He's just one of the guys at the office. It's one of those mysterious names the old man was always mad at. Zudak. I'll tell you. It ain't what you know, it's who you know. Oh, yeah, poor Zudak someplace, He probably didn't know even his own wife. And they promoted him, but that doesn't matter. See, the old man would never concede that Zudak's got more talent than he has. It's Zudak's got pull. I'm probably ruffling a lot of feathers right now because there's a lot of guys listening to this show who really seriously believe that if they somehow got close to Mayor Lindsay, they would become a beautiful person. Personally. No, there's a real belief in this stuff, And so the old man finally sitting there, drinks his beer. He says, "Oh, boy. Guy works himself to the bone. Who put in the new system about the bottle count? Huh? Me, that's right. That's who. Don't I get credit for it? No. Zudok gets the job. I'll tell you why. His wife is a friend of Gallagher's wife. That's why. This is putting it on my old lady now. Now it's my mother's fault for not knowing the boss's wife. So she sits down and ladles out the Franco-American spaghetti. He's sitting there, bugged. You know, and I'm sitting there as a kid, I'm thinking about this thing. And right away, I'm thinking, geez, I'm lost already. All I know is Flick and Bruner. You know, I'm never going to get anywhere, you know, knowing Flick and Bruner and Schwartz. Where am I going to go? And then the old man, he would make these fantastic rhetorical statements. He would turn and he'd say to all of us, look, it doesn't make any difference how smart you are. I guess he's telling this to me, see. It doesn't make any difference. It's who you know. Now, of course, the old man always prided him. On the other hand, then he would turn right around and say this. I'll tell you there's one thing they can't ever say about me. I was never a company fink. Which means, you know, that he always told... He always told the boss to go fly a kite. Anytime the boss came around and asked him whether they needed a new pencil sharpener, you know.